Well, welcome everyone to our last November elevation call for the year. So this is just really wishing Thanksgiving blessings to all of you guys. We have some parties going on today. I know that Jenny, Todd, and Steve are celebrating 45 years of marriage with their whole family.
Years. Jenny doesn't even look 45 years old.
No, she doesn't. And I guess Steve planned this surprise party and brought all her kids to Florida and surprised her. And we just kind of brought tears to my eyes. And then Mary Ellen's birthday is today. And I have.
And she's de-aging.
She's de-aging. And so I have some notes to share that Mary Ellen wanted us. And then Scooby's here. So welcome to Scooby. We do have people that are still dialing in. And so I wanted to just welcome everybody and say thank you for keeping this on your schedule. This is a call that we look so forward to, and just seeing your beautiful faces just really makes our weekend. So tonight we had a special request, and that request really is, how does Zilis as an income platform work? And tonight's call
in these times.
And so if you guys have a request for elevation, we always love for you to reach out and let us know kind of what's on your mind. And earning income with Zilis is something that we've been doing now for over 5 years. And I've made more income with this platform than anything I've ever done. Wendy knows, and I think Nikki and Kristen and several of us have done a business prior to Zilis, and I worked really, 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 really hard. And I think I was kind of moderately effective with that. And so you've heard my story, 13 years in that business, and then being introduced to this platform, we just were able to be much more effective. And so I'm going to have Hal kind of talk a little bit about just the leaderboard, because it's a great way to kind of set up what we're talking about tonight. But just so you guys know, Zilis is just one income platform, and there's a lot of them out there. I've done one before. We've been introduced to a lot of them. You'll be introduced to a lot of them. In fact, you might even be a target if you're in the direct selling industry for everyone else who's trying to recruit. And we've certainly had that as well. So we're going to start tonight just knowing that we're going to kind of share with you just kind of a high level of what makes Zilis unique. How do you make money if you're just coming into this platform? And Hal's going to start us with just kind of the way that we structure the leaderboard, which is the way we start every single call.
Yeah, we start every elevation call recognizing people who are on what Zilis recognizes as their income earning markers, you might say, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And that's the leaderboard for enrollments and the leaderboard for personal volume. And the personal volume board we'll get to in a minute is going to be part of what we talk about tonight to some degree, how to leverage that, how to use it. But let's recognize the people that are on these boards, and we'll break it out here in a few minutes again. So for this month so far, and we're on, it's today.
20th.
Mm-hmm. So we still got, 10 days left, something like that for the month. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, Susan Welch in Florida, Dr. Welch, I see you on the call right here. Whoop, whoop. At number 20. Mary Ellen and Roger celebrating Mary Ellen's birthday tonight, number 18. And then Hal and Lisa. Hal and Lisa are on the leaderboard at number 16 this month. And so, that's enrolling. That whole thing is about enrolling a new person into their opportunity, that being that person's opportunity to buy at wholesale or buy at wholesale these products and build a team to multiply their income. So that's that side. On the personal volume side, typically is based upon your order. And this can be people people who may or may not be adding new people, but your personal order up to that point each month. Many times this is a large personal order, and many times it's also a bulk order of some kind. And most of the people who do bulk orders with Zilis or case orders are making some kind of retail profit to some degree with it. And so anyway, Lynn Roevit is that Atlanta?
She's in Georgia.
Georgia. And so she's at number 9. And then we know who Wright Parkway Dental is, and that's Dr. Susan Welch and Brian, since he's running the shop now there. She's doing all the work, but he's running things. Anyway, that's congratulations. They're at number 2.
Yeah.
Is that
she's
right?
Number two.
You kind of worked through that. So anyway, we want to recognize those. And then we're going to talk about in a few minutes how we combine those. Are we doing that now?
Yeah, I wanted to, get some feedback from you guys, just because you're out there in the field. A lot of you have done events. A lot of you guys have sold product even this weekend. And, we love hearing
Yeah, we hear
stories from the
reports.
field. But kind of the way I think of how to earn income with Zilis, there's kind of long-term money and then there's short-term money. And for people who are either just getting started or people who are just trying to kind of maybe even earn some cash for the holidays, you have to really think about retail, because retail is probably the fastest way to generate a significant amount of cash without building a team. And it doesn't really take a lot of belief. Whereas the team building part really does take some belief, understanding what we have our hands on. So the retail component of Zilis, I think of as a little bit more transactional. If you do vendor shows, if you have a physician, a healthcare professional office, if you have a salon or a spa and you have a lot of foot traffic coming in, then it's a little bit easier to think about what kind of pain point can you solve. And so I kind of want to pause there for just a minute and ask you guys, think about just your business this week, this month, could even be just this year, and help me understand a pain point that you have solved by selling a Zilis product at retail.
Can you tell us what you mean? You mean like a physical, like my knees?
Yes.
I point to my knee and that's my pain point.
That could be one pain point.
Okay, can you give us another example of a pain point?
Let me ask, is Scooby there? I'm going to let her tell us about what kind of pain point that she was able to solve. Scooby!
She's trying to hide under the hood. Look at her.
No, you don't want to see what I have on. My boys won tonight, so
we don't care.
Hey, you look, what does it say?
Oh, hey, Cowboys. I watched that game. They killed the Yeah.
So Scooby,
I watched 10 minutes of it. It was 37-3 when I saw it. So
no, I watched the whole thing.
I told her she didn't have to watch it because I knew they were going to win.
Hey, that's impressive. But Scooby, I want you to explain to Hal kind of how you were able to generate some cash this weekend and what kind of problem that you solved for somebody by doing that.
I'm actually in recovery. So it was actually my sponsor's nephew that she takes care of. And he's disabled, and he actually has pins and rods in his back and his legs and hips, stuff like that. And so he was complaining of not being able to, like, he can go to sleep, but not being able to stay asleep, just because he's in so much pain. So I gave him a tiny little bit of the magic cream, and I was like, hey, try this. And he goes, oh, it kind of works, but it wears off. And I said, well, that's just a temporary fix. That's just, hey, if you're hurting, rub it on there, you're good to go. But I was like, if you throw in the drops too, now you're working from the inside out, right? So you're getting to the root of the problem. And I actually just checked in with them this morning, and they said that he's doing a lot better. He's actually able to sleep a lot longer than he was before without being in so much pain. He says he still kind of hurts, but it's not as nearly as bad as it was before. So, and I'd given that to them on Thursday. So from Thursday to today, he's noticed a big change. So I think that's good, but I just go straight to the root, just straight to the point. If you want it to help you, then, you got to go to the root of the source first. You can't just do the temporary, right? It's just like taking, pain meds. It just messes with your head. It just temporarily, makes your mind think that it's not there, but it's still there. Right. But this is like, it's not like, messing with the head. It's actually getting into the body and all of that. And it's all natural, and that's what I like about it too, is it's the natural. I don't like taking stuff that man has made, right? Because then, you have all other kinds of stuff that comes with it. But with this stuff here, and they're liking it, and she's tried the coffee and she's kind of liking that too. So I just keep it short and sweet. If you want it, you want it. If you don't, well, then you know where to find me.
That's awesome. And so you actually were able to sell her some physical product that you had in your inventory then, basically.
Yep. So what I did is I actually bought it's like a tattoo case I took out the little fluffiness in there and I just put a lot of my stock and stuff in there and I keep it in my car. I threw some in my motorcycle over the weekend. If somebody, you know, had a question about it or something, then I had some with me. So I now have made it a point to have some on me at all times because you never know. They could be like, oh, I want it. You don't have it. Well, now you just lost the sale because they're gonna be like, oh, I'll hook up with you later. You know, so now I'm like, no, you want it? All right, come on, let's go. Let's go to my bike or go to my car. I got it right here for you. So it's been pretty.
Perfect.
It's a truck.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, Wendy, and Wendy and Scooby as well. And I know Suzanne, because I've talked to you guys recently, you know, with your team, Wendy, one of the first things that you did is you made a retail, not a retail purchase, but you made a tiered pricing purchase. We're going to talk about that. And because of that, I know you've been able to provide some product for your team. I know Suzanne has also purchased a gold kit. You've purchased a gold kit. So you guys combined have product for your team to access. How have you seen having product to move impact your business?
Well, I did an event. I shared a couple of meetings ago, a while back, and met a wonderful girl, Elizabeth, and she's had all kinds of health issues going on. And so I had her fill out the health assessment form and actually got her on a call with you, Lisa, a little while ago. It's probably been a couple months or so. But I really felt connected to her, but she was not ready to purchase anything right now. So that's okay. And so I just check on her almost every week and she's really responsive. And I did send her a sample of our magic cream. And I think I sent her a sample of the coffee too. And so quite honestly, I hadn't followed up with her for probably about 2 weeks or so, which isn't like me. Just life got in the way. And then I messaged her and she was just going through a lot of stuff. But I just asked her what, did she notice any positive changes with any of the products? And she's like, loves the cream. And she gave it to her boyfriend and specifically for his knees. He had some previous injuries and she's a starving college student. So I almost got in my head a little bit because her refrigerator just went out. She's putting herself through school, can't afford a lot. But I thought, well, why not ask her? Like, I just put it out there and just said, well, would you like to make a purchase of the cream? And she said, yes. So I was just so glad that I didn't get in my head and decide for her that she couldn't afford it. And she did.
That's awesome. And I know, Suzanne, you've been able to move product as well. Do you want to add to that?
This is the same Suzanne who really wasn't interested at all in quote moving any product at all.
Because she's not a salesperson.
Right. I think that's right. So go ahead, Suzanne.
She's on mute. You're on mute, Suzanne.
Suzanne, yeah, we can't hear you yet.
I can go help her. I'm in her backyard, by the way.
Oh,
Do you see?
There she is.
Pro. She's a pro.
She got
I'm
it.
inside, they're outside.
Okay,
She won't let
cool.
us in the house.
Anyways,
Just kidding.
with the gold ambassador thing, I got all glow and shield. And so that's the only product I really had to move. And I just used a lot of it to send out samples to people. And I signed 4 or 5 people. So that part was good. I'm a little bit at a standstill right now though, but I think glow and shield just kind of sell themselves, but I haven't done any retail sales. I'm timid in that way, so I don't know. I'm a
That's
work in
okay.
progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you had product here. The point is that you have to have product
Yes.
to move anything. And
Yeah.
I mean, really the odds are now, some of us may say, well, I signed somebody up and they didn't have any experience with product, but across time, what we have seen, especially in these times now, without some product to have available to people, it's hard to move the whole story without some experience with the product.
That's true.
And that's just where we are. There was a time when everybody's, oh, I just heard about CBD. Let's try it. Well, those days have passed. Now we need product to show them the effectiveness of our product.
Mhm.
And so that's just kind of where we are.
Well, and I know Susan Welch is on. I'm not sure if she's able to comment on this, because Susan, you are on both leaderboards. You're on the personal enrollment leaderboard and you're also on the retail leaderboard. So talk to us a little bit just about how you kind of move products, the retail products that you purchase.
Quick story. I had a gentleman that I've been taking care of probably since 2004 when I bought the practice. He's one of those guys that he's a veteran, and we've had conversations over the years about how much better I've become as a dentist. He was very open to sharing that with me. It was kind of cool. But this last time I saw him, he's getting ready to move out west, but we were talking, and he's in his mid 70s, and he's talking about how his body hurts, how he wants to do things, but he gets tired and all these things. And I told him I would be remiss if I didn't share with him about the products that we have in the practice with Glow and Shield. And he took some samples and he's going to give them a try. He is credentialed to do the THC medical marijuana stuff. He doesn't like it because of the way it makes him feel, all these different things. But I think within my practice and talking with our patients, we're always sharing how the products versus ice, that is my number one seller, because we have a lot of people that are, unable to use CBD based products, but then you just share within our practice. I just have a really good venue, if you will, to be able to share with people about how the endocannabinoid system works in the human body, and then be able to have products on hand. And as far as signing people up, if you will, it's just something where people get on the product within the practice, and then we offer them the wholesale capability, and then they take advantage of that. And then there's people like Shelly who then they become business builders. So that's the other part that's very, it's a blessing that we're able to, as a unit within this company, be able to offer people the opportunity to take it to the next level if they want to within the product system. So anyways, it's that whole thing of sharing, talking about it and sharing with people. And, it's like I told Mr. Beck, I said, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about these things, because what you told me is I now have something within my quiver of capabilities to say, this product will help you. So that's kind of how I do it.
Well, I love that, Susan. It's great word tracking.
And congratulations on his comments to you about your practice and you.
He's so cute. He goes, you've really gotten better. I'm like, well, thank you. Because, when you're a young dentist, I mean, literally, I bought the practice. I'd been 7 years in practice, and now I've been doing this 26 years. And he's like, you've really gotten better.
And he's moving away. That would kind of be sad.
No, he bought some beautiful property out west, you guys, and he showed me the building of his home, and I'm just so happy for him. But it's like he said, he goes, after 65, life changes vastly, because he said, travel with your family, do all these things. And I'm like, so he's just a really good guy. But it's neat to be able to hopefully help him just have a better quality of life, because what he's teaching me and telling me is that he needs to support his ECS. Honestly, guys, that's what it comes down to from a holistic whole body standpoint, is that his ECS is worn out.
Yep.
Well, I love that.
Simple message.
And just obviously Susan is very influential as a dentist. And, those of us who, are not dentists, we're like, well, that's great for Susan, but what does that have to do with me? And I know.
So it sounds like you can either open a dental practice or go get a motorcycle and ride around on a motorcycle and having Zilis in your saddlebag or in the back, whatever. So
and
it's one of those two options.
Or
okay, there's more.
Or you can go create a relationship with a dentist like Susan, or somebody who rides motorcycles like Scooby, and introduce this to them and create that team. And that's really what we're here to help facilitate those conversations. It's a longer term thing, but it still creates income and leverage unlike just one retail sale will do. And Hal's going to share Mary Ellen's comment.
Yeah, so today's her birthday and they're celebrating with family. So we've got some people celebrating, but we did ask her and she wanted to have input. So she said, and this is just a text with a really cute picture of her, but birthday celebrations continue with Austin, my support avocado. It's a stuffed avocado if you hadn't seen it. Anyway, sorry to miss the elevation call, but my advice to earn income. Here's what she says. Keep talking Zilis consistently with a passion. And then she added that she just added a healthcare provider, no, the healthcare provider number 6. In other words, in her community, she has over time established herself as the person that other healthcare providers have agreed for her to be their patients, their clients, CBD Connect. So she has built a relationship with other healthcare professionals, which she obviously no longer has any like office. I mean, it's her and Roger at Lake Z, you know, at the Ziliac Lake and grandkids and living life, but she's continued to have relationships with other healthcare providers. And those people have said, you know, if we have people we want to refer CBD, we'll send them to you. And so in many cases, she'll start them out with a retail sale. And, you know, people give them an option to go retail or wholesale. And we still have people we encounter who say, you know, I'll just try it. I'll pay the retail to start. And then some of those, many of those will buy retail again, but most of them transition into a wholesale position. And that's when we get up people on the leaderboard. That's how you get people on the leaderboard.
So anybody else want to comment on products that they have sold retail to solve a problem for someone? Because we have kind of two things. And one of those things we talked about solving a pain point in someone. The other thing is identifying a way that you can provide an existing solution in a different or better way. So when you think about, you know, solving problems, and the way to earn more income is just solving bigger problems or solving more problems for more people, Susan Everett.
Well, I was going to add something totally different than what everybody's talked about, but I had somebody reach out to me because they've heard me talk about Zilis for animals. And she said her dog, one has age-related problems, you know, and hips and stuff like that, but also has a lot of anxiety. So she purchased raw because he's a larger dog. So purchased some raw from me to try to help with the dog. And then after talking to that, then she ended up buying some stuff for herself too.
That's great.
It's all retail. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that person's original quote pain point was the need for their dog. Yeah,
correct.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you guys are familiar with the wholesale price list? Okay, some of you guys are like, yeah, that you sleep with it at night and you're really familiar with it. But I want to pull it up because a lot of times, you know, we really are not familiar with it. And I just want to show you guys, this is the,
Where did you find that, Lisa?
this is under resources. You can just type in
Wait.
pricing
It's in your back office?
in your back office.
How do you get to that?
You go to Zilis corporate back office that you guys know how to log in.
People know how to log in their back office.
Log in your back office, go to resources, and then it's under business, or you can just type in the search bar, just type price.
Price.
And this will come up. There's a retail price guide and then there's a wholesale price guide. But I like this one because it has everything on
And
it.
everybody who's on this call tonight has access to that in their back office.
Everyone does. And guys, sometimes like for a new ambassador, I'm going to maybe show them this price list. I think it's probably one of the most important documents because there's a lot, this is a big industry, you know, the direct selling industry, the affiliate industry. And I don't know another company that has this, that's why we call this a hybrid, that has a tiered pricing system like Zilis does. And yeah,
Can we stop?
Yeah.
When you say that, you just kind of say, I don't know another company that has a tiered pricing like Zilis has. Well, so what I want to emphasize is this is actually a really big deal. So if you go to your local grocery store and you want to buy their product, whatever it is, I don't care if it's bread or bananas or beef, they're not going to give you a different price unless it's just on sale, right? And usually it's on sale because the use by date is tomorrow or today. So you get a different price. All right. So that's your local store. You don't get it with gas, you don't get it with anything. Now, in the industry of direct selling and affiliate marketing, which are people like us moving product for a company, whether that company has one product or 50 products, it is usually they have a retail price and one wholesale price. That's it. So it didn't matter if you buy 10 of what they have to offer at wholesale and you turn it and retail it, or if you buy 100 or you buy one. With most companies, there's only two prices. It is the retail price and a wholesale price that gives you some kind of margin. So when we talk about tiered pricing with Zilis, this is incredibly unique and it's a great opportunity for us to have at our fingertips if we want to go that direction, or to share it with potential people who might want to get involved with your business with Zilis. So anyway, we kind of went fast through that.
Yeah, no, thank you for that clarification. And so when we talk about the leaderboard, people who are purchasing on the retail side, most often they're buying tiered pricing. And so let's just use the 15 mil price bucket as an example. And if you can see on the left, it says Ultra Cell 15 mil, Ultra CBG 15 mil, Ultra Topical, the 30 mil, the 1 ounce, the Ultra Cell Powder, Ultra Bliss, Ultra R&R, and then there's one more product in this price bucket, and it's the small Ultra Dream. So literally you could actually buy any tier with those products, and they're actually sold interchangeably.
So what you're saying is with each of these, as you look at this tiered pricing sheet, you can buy a single, so which is one, and you pay $59.99 for it. With any of those there on the left, you could also buy a case.
Yeah, well, let's stop on that.
Okay.
So let's just talk about the single. So when you purchase on your auto ship, let's say you're a new ambassador and you bought retail 1 month, you like the product, now you're buying wholesale. For those of us who buy on auto ship, 1 to 11 units, you're going to get at that $59.99 price. And so if you're just, if you're doing a little small volume retail practice and you're selling that product, you're going to be able to sell it for no less than the minimum retail price of $69.95. And no more than the maximum retail price of $89.95. So you have, this is part of the business, you get to decide what pricing. Now, if somebody buys from your replicated site, what price do they buy at?
If they buy from directly, they go to your replicated site, they're going to pay what?
Who knows? Susan.
Susan knows. Anybody else know?
Susan, what?
$89.95.
Which is the top end retail price for that same product.
So if they go online and they search Ultracell to make sure you're not like price gouging them, they might find buy it CBD that's selling at that minimum retail price. So we found during the pandemic, when everyone was buying online, that it was tough to get maximum retail for the product.
Yeah, because ultimately for them to go to your website and they pay $89.99 plus tax plus shipping, they end up paying about $100 or more by the time it gets delivered to their doorstep at that price. But if they bought it directly from you and they pay full retail, they're paying the $89 without tax and shipping, unless you add it, which, you might if you're shipping it, but it still wouldn't be as much. But that's the, retail max.
So let's just say, you're going to try to give them, I will sell a CBD and a CBG. If they buy them together, I will sell them for $75 each. I mean, that's just one of the things I do. So I'll sell the combination for $150 retail. And that's the way I start a lot of people. But I'm making about
how much you make on that?
So I'm making what, $15 per unit on that small transaction.
Right. And so you might spend 3 hours let's say with someone, not in one sitting, but over time, just say 3 hours in multiple conversations to have them buy that product, and you make how much retail?
Well, that would be 15 times 2.
So it'd be 30 bucks.
30 bucks.
That's 10
Yeah.
bucks. That's 10 bucks an hour. Not a great wage. Okay. Not a great wage. Not many of us going to get wealthy on that. But if you take that and turn it into a long-term customer,
Right.
it becomes something very different, whether it be retail or an enrolled ambassador.
So this is kind of where we were talking about the tiered pricing, and Hal started talking about, well, so if you buy one case, so the way that the company has offered this tiered pricing is in cases of 12 units. And so for that same 15 mil price bucket, if I wanted to create a little higher margin for myself, and I'm like Scooby and Wendy, and they sell a lot of the magic cream, then maybe I can think about investing in one case of magic cream, which is still, it's $599.99 for 12.
Which is $49.91 piece.
So it's like $49.99 per unit. So it's 50 bucks. So I'm going to add $10 to my profit by buying that case, that one case. And so you can kind of do the math. If I buy 24 units or 2 cases, I'm going to actually be able to make it's $45.83 or something like that per unit. So I'm making about 24 bucks on that minimum retail price. And again, so if I buy 48 units, then it's $39.58 per unit. And if I buy 96 units, which is the deepest tier, it's 29. So it's like 30 bucks a unit.
How many people choked on that?
So yeah, it's
how many, raise your
$2,900
hand, how many of you choked on that those numbers? Even those of you who have I choke on them too. At this point I choke on them. Now let's go back up the scale and talk about maybe 2 cases.
So 2 cases would be 24 units. And if you look at that, it's like $1,100.
But how much is it a piece?
But per piece, it's $45.83.
Okay. And so with that, that's an additional, well, it's 59. That's what is that? 15 bucks a piece?
Yeah. It's like,
times what? Times 24?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of do the math on that. What I like about the way that they sell these tiered products is, let's say you are doing 2 cases, you can do a case of CBD 15 mil berry, you can do a case of CBG,
or you could do magic cream,
that
would be our topical.
We call
Otherwise
that,
not.
we've adopted Scooby's name for it. So yes, Susan.
So just to be clear, what you just said, if I'm buying 2 cases, I can mix a case of one, a case of the other, of any of those.
They
Yes.
changed that not too long ago, but yes.
Okay.
You didn't
That's
used to
fine.
be able to do that, but they have changed that.
Which is great, because honestly, if money was no object and we were kind of rolling all of us in cash, you could do the 8 tiers of 96 units, and you could buy, a case of Ultra Dream. You could do a case of, all those 15 mil products that we love. And maybe that would last you a year, but every time you're selling retail, you're going to caps for 40 bucks on that minimum retail price instead of just 10. If that makes sense. And it starts really with the gold kit, like, Suzanne was talking about. She moved her gold kit. Now she gave a lot of it away, and she's just kind like that. I couldn't do that. When I first started, I sold everything I had, and I had $20 bills hanging out of my wallet. Like, I was rolling in cash for the first time.
I had it stuffed in my front pocket.
I mean, like,
people
were like giving us 20s because we had those mini bottles. But the bottom line is really that it takes cash to buy tiers. But what we've seen over 5 years now is, that's one reason you build a team, is to have some buying power, and you can get your team together. You can split 2 cases and everybody kind of divides them up, and we strategically place that order under the lowest person.
Now, if you've never done that before, which many people have, some people have done that and made a mistake by not consulting their upline who has experience in that. Or have bought with other groups and not knowing, like outside their group, but that's not the way to do it for multiple reasons. But that is one way that people have been able to work together to make a purchase to reduce the price down, and then you go in together and pay for the product, and everybody gets the points that are the BV credited up through the support line. And so that's a strategy. It's not complicated, but you do need a little counsel on that if you wanted to endeavor to buy down the price through buying cases.
And I think oh yes, Suzanne.
Quick question.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you're not selling retail, does it make sense to buy the cases?
I really honestly, if you're not selling retail and you're really just kind of focusing on enrollments, then it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to
Well,
buy cases.
but
Do you think?
I think it makes sense if you see that you can move that product for people over a certain period of time, whatever your kind of pain point on return on your investment is. Like, let's say you're not trying to make retail profit. You just want to get people on product so that they can get on long-term personal care with the product. Then you can actually get them started when you have that product and you've bought it at a cheaper price.
That's true.
That's the other way, another reason to do it that way. And so maybe, let's say, for example, let me give you a scenario. Let's say that your sponsor does retail or enjoys retailing well, in this case, Magic Cream.
Yeah.
You, though, are really more interested in the CBD CBG combo, okay, because it's internal. Because you are the downline to your sponsor, you and the sponsor could get together and pick, I want a case of the topicals and a case of CBD. And we buy 2 cases, so we buy down the price together. The order would go under you. Your purpose is to get 12 people on that product.
Right.
Their purpose is to get 12 people on the product and make a retail profit. But you're all paying the same price. So it does, to me, make sense to do that if your goal is to move the product for other people to use it and then get on the product long-term for themselves.
Yeah.
I will say this too. I don't know, but some people, I don't know how it's worked for them, but some people like to buy in cases if they have the money for personal use and they get a better deal for themselves. And then they've got it also available to sell to others. So it's a win-win in that regard.
Well, and if I had it to do over again, I probably would have done it differently in the beginning, because I got these, bags and bags of Glow and Shield, and I just wanted to turn people on to it that I cared about. And I ended up giving, like, my niece and her husband, I gave them 5 of each of the Glow and the Shield, and that was expensive to do. I mean, that was about $70 out of my pocket, so Lisa told me early on at some point, that instead of handing out for free the samples, maybe sell it for a certain amount,
Right.
And I guess I just haven't gotten over my hesitancy with that, but maybe we can work on that another time. But
one thing with that, I think, you just consider that an early Christmas present for them. And I kind of really mean that, because you can gift people at a season of the year that people give gifts.
Yeah.
And leverage that. So, this is a really valuable, I care about you and your health. It may not be a sexy gift right up front, like you might think, it's not like some cute little thing or a whatever, but I care about you. So I'm gifting you this product. This is how much, you don't have to tell them how much it is, but this isn't cheap. These aren't little cheap samples. So we can turn that toward that, especially this time of year for people who have products, if you want to do that. I'm not saying go do that with everybody, but you might some people to do that with.
I've always wanted to give product away. You see people who are like train wrecks that these products would make a difference, and everybody feels pinched this time of year, and I always wanted to give product. And Matt Andre gave a lecture once on, I wish I could remember the law it's a spiritual law,
Compensation.
the law of compensation, that literally if somebody does not have some skin in the game, they cannot get maximum return from the
Yeah.
product.
And most people
I
will not.
couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more.
Yeah, you're in a,
Yeah.
I mean, you're
You're in a
your
profession where
profession, you see that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, do you want to give all your services away for free? Do you want to
No.
give, no, they need to value themselves at least to the point of the purchase,
Yeah.
the initial purchase.
And that's why when you say, you know, I would, you know, are you open to hear about a product that might be a solution for you? And then when they say, well, how much is it? And you could say, well, what's your budget? And then if they say $50, well, hey, why don't you just, you know, take a 10-day supply for 50
Right.
bucks? So you can kind of customize it. That's one thing I like about the Glow and the Shield, is that we can actually customize that for somebody's budget.
Yeah.
By the way, I can tell you that
Compensation, Susan.
I can tell you that a grande iced caramel macchiato with oat milk is more than one day's retail
right.
cost of a glow stick.
That's
I
right.
can tell you that it's $1.70 in Arkansas more than a single retail
Yeah,
glow stick.
you're right.
You can ask Hal how he knows that.
How I know that. I
And
don't know
I
if she,
believe in that law of compensation. I really do. That's why I said in the beginning, if I had it to do it over again, I wouldn't have given out as many samples to people.
you know, we've all, you know, we've all done it.
I think everybody would raise their hand
Yeah.
if
I would have given them one to taste, just to see if they thought the taste was tolerable. But as far, you know, and I was lucky enough to feel very different after 3 days of taking it, but not everybody is.
No, not everybody is. And one thing else I wanted to show you guys, and this is just because we've done like the Lachey soiree, and I know Kristen has talked about, you know, with some of her team that, you know, we're doing a little bit more with Lachey. When I saw this, I was amazed by this. So I just want you guys to take a look at the full regimen pack with Lachey. So one full pack is $339.99 with Lachey, and the minimum retail is $374.95. So that means all parts of the Lachey minus the collagen. So it's just all parts of the skincare program. When you actually buy 15 full sets, which is the deepest tier, I know that looks like a lot, it's $24.79, but you take that price from $374.95 to $165 per unit. Okay, so if you know salons and spas, if you want to host a Lachey soiree where you've got people that are a little bit more high-end people that are willing to pay for good skincare, you can make serious cash with that Lachey kit. And I was blown away by just what that profit could be. So, you know, if you're selling it for $375, say, let's say $370 minus $165, that's like over $209 in profit per kit.
So I think we've probably spent enough time on numbers tonight.
Okay.
And I think we need to, I think we need,
What was
unless
that?
somebody's got something.
Suzanne, did you have a question?
Just
No.
a really quick question. Do you think that they're ever going to come out with a sample pack of some form of the Lachey?
They've had it and they've got an improved one coming down the line.
And
Okay.
and some other new things coming
Yeah.
with Lachey.
Okay, cool.
That's what they tell us.
And
So,
somebody else had a question.
Lisa, actually,
Yeah.
I have two observations. One is to buy the cases for the auto ship, you don't get your star points. But
Yeah.
also but that when you buy the cases, that makes the shipping, when you buy the shipping for the once a year and you pay for the prime shipping or
Uh-huh.
even this 12-day, then you get the cases free, the shipping for it free. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that just gives us a reason to do that. So
Absolutely. And what was your other observation then, Lorena?
that when you buy the cases on your auto ship, you do not get the star points. So to do it, if you have your star points and you try to get your 100 star points, you know, for your for the gifts, I know I'm bringing it down, but to do that for your 100 BV, but then have the shipping. You can still get the shipping for free for the cases, but
So
do
you don't
that at
really
a
have to
separate
buy that
time.
on an auto ship, in
Right.
fact, when I buy cases, I don't ever put it on my
So for
auto
those
ship.
of you that
Okay.
don't know, and maybe it's
Good
few, what
point.
she's talking about is that there's still 2 options or 1 on the shipping,
Well, it's
on the Prime.
on the Prime, you can still
Just two.
include with cases.
No, what the cost of.
No, there's a
No.
7 to 10, 12, there's a 12-day and then there's a 7-day
with the
shipping, and
But-
it's a different price.
But for
But,
those of you who don't know, you can purchase your shipping for all year in one purchase. And I think it's $179. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the one that's,
Yeah.
That's the fast delivery. And then there's one for $119.
that's.
Yes.
That is US Postal, but that is your one-time cost for everything you order from Zilis for the year, from the day that you set up Prime, just in case you didn't know.
Good.
So
Thank you, Hal, for
we
that.
often talk with people who get on auto ship who think they're going to be using it regularly. And if people say no to that, then sometimes we forget to bring that back up, which, we're taking that opportunity now to tell people about that.
Yeah.
Good point, Lorena. Thank you.
Thank you. And so guys, that's really what I wanted to share with you, just because a lot of times people had not really taken a lot of time to look at the pricing, the wholesale price guide. And so I want you to really print it out, do the math, look at the 15 mil price bucket, look at the 30 mil price bucket. Those are kind of the two main ones that you'll probably consider retail at some point, and then look at Lachey.
Yeah, and so that was part of and the majority of what Lisa wanted to talk about tonight, but also just with this, the main topic that was brought up as a suggestion is just how do we make a little money? $100. How do we turn anything we have done or bought or invested with Zilis to return a little bit of money back into our pocket, at least starting with something? And so we've talked about that tonight, and that is the products you have to have. In this day and age, you need to be able to put product or mail product into people's hands. You got to have it to get rid. Now, we don't mean stocking up a lot necessarily, but you got to have something to move. Now, Lorena brought up the auto ship. And so if you order in cases, you don't get the free, because they've already discounted, you don't get the free products that they send out monthly. But if you've been on auto ship with 100 BV or more in different, over any time, I'll guarantee you every person here has collected some product that you're either using or shelving. You've got a collection, and that collection is what you can use to put money back in your pocket. And so everybody kind of knows that. They might walk by it, they look at it and go, man, I'd love to sell that. Man, I'd love to move that. Man, I'd like to get my money back on that. Man, it's over there. It's just sitting there staring at me. It's staring at me. I believe that the only way you're going to move that product is being out in the world, meeting people. Like way more than what you're doing. For you, I'm just being honest. You got to get out there, and you got to do it in new and different ways.
Well, and I'm going to call on Susan Everett, because she's done a significant amount of work with networking. And so, Susan, how does that manifest when, you're part of a networking group and now people contact you as their CBD chick?
Yeah, it just takes a lot of time though. And you just got to keep talking it, keep being excited about the products. I try to each time I talk about it, I try to be consistent, in other words, not talk about it just once, but yet at the same time, I try to talk about different aspects. And I try not to compete with other people in the group. I try to differentiate, or I try to play off of what they say, because I don't want to put myself in a competitive position, because then you're going to tick somebody off. And so, but it takes time. It's like building any friendship. Is what you're doing. You're building a relationship or a friendship. Is that it?
That's awesome. Thank you for that. And so, what I want to really instill in you guys is really, there's people out there with huge problems. The reason we were on the leaderboard really last month was just because we went to a class reunion, and I started teaching line dancing at the senior center, which, it's not like, everyone's just like, oh, you're such a great instructor, What can I buy from you? It just, I wish it worked like that. It's taken me months. I started this at the end of June. And so just now we're starting to have people that are, I would give gifts for people who brought free, brought guests to this class. I'd give them like a little pack of Lachey or a little topic, a little magic cream. And so those kinds of meeting opportunities, as well as just kind of dabbling in some networking here in Northwest Arkansas, is what really translated to, I think, 5 enrollments last month for us.
Yeah. Being in the community, just being there, doing things in the community is,
No way around it.
There's
Really.
no, I mean, this is a face-to-face social marketing entrepreneur business. It's just not, everybody's gone through their list of people for the most part. They're going to call and get a, hey, I got something to show you thing. This is building those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to build relationships and have more people to talk to, we have to meet more people. We have to be in a position to meet more people. And we have to be, when we're in the world, be aware that there are people that have needs. And like we started the call with, this whole thing is about finding a pain point, listening to people, and then asking them if they're open to a potential better solution. That really is what everyone's trying to do. Find where in the world about everything. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not just about literally physical pain. It's about the pain points of people in the world, and then how to provide a better solution for them, and to see if they're open to hear about potentially a better solution for the things they're dealing with. And there may be some of those that say, I can't afford anything. Well, what if I could show you an opportunity, maybe, where we can have a better solution than just, talking about the fact that you don't have enough money at the end of the month? What if we had put you in contact with someone who could share some options for you on that? And if they say, no, I enjoy my pain, I'm fine, I'm really not that bad off, you say, great, we don't have anything to talk about. Or if you want to talk about sports or the bunny rabbits, or, how to cook what, or this or that, or, whatever. But but there are people who all the time who have pain. I had a guy this week that I met, really, he was in Lisa's class. I met him a few weeks ago at their reunion. I barely knew him at all. Well, he's on product, and he calls me regularly now. And he goes, man, he just got off work the other day. He goes, dude, I just got to tell you, today at work, I did a whole process with a machine. He's like a supervisor in a place that's a production place. And he goes, I went through the whole process. It normally takes me an hour and a half to do this thing that I have to do with this machine. And I got it done in 45 minutes. I was so focused. He goes, the only difference is that I've been on CBD and CBG for about 2 weeks. And he was calling me to tell me that. And so anyway, that was pretty cool. But, we met him at her reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Or I did. You knew him, but I didn't know him. So.
Not that well.
Yeah.
Just because we know somebody doesn't mean that they're open. And so one thing.
Yeah, there was a lot of, so on the other side of that, there was 15 girls that were Lisa's best friends in high school who won't listen for a second to her. None, zero. They're like, stay away, like, I don't want to hear any more of your pitches, Lisa,
Yeah. And so that was kind of my point, is just save your energy, save your energy for where it's welcome. And I wish I could say that, our, everyone that we talk to is open and willing to listen and to try it. But the majority of people in my 5 years have not been. And in Arkansas, it's been a tougher climate than it was in Indiana. So
it's not just Arkansas.
It's not just Arkansas.
No, this world is different than it was in 2017 and 18 when you got started in Zilis. I mean,
it's a different world.
When we start saying it exactly the way it is, then we'll start looking for different solutions. But it's a different world.
Yeah.
It's not just Arkansas, and it's not just Missouri, and it's not just Florida, and it's not just California. But we can find our way, and there are more and more people who are looking for solutions. And they're going to look to us. They're not going to look to who they've looked to before as much, because the trust factor is more with you and those people you meet than it is with a lot of the people that's been telling them, how to fix it before.
And one of the articles that I was reading, that really try to read a lot about marketing and sales, and they said, get used to hearing no, and it's okay. It's just not now. It's not, you're not ready yet. Listen to your customers and potential customers, and remember that there is no substitute for hard work, which is just numbers of people. It's just filling the funnel. It's just the same thing that we talk about all the time. And then also, just in closing, guys, those of you in Evansville, Christina Durham is actually hosting on November the 29th, 2 meetings in Evansville, and that's posted on Team Unlimited. There's an 11:30 and a 6:30 meeting. And so I hope you guys will support that meeting. Those of you who are in the Evansville area, at least pick a meeting, just because she's really trying to take the lead on helping kind of unify the team in Evansville. That geography is where I started 5 years ago. And, we've really had, all of you guys came to us through that Evansville team. So it just to show you what can happen with, a lot of concerted energy and people locking arms in the same geography and kind of in our own backyard. So that's one thing. The other thing is the Freedom Call tomorrow night. We'll have some great tips as well for creating conversations around the holidays.
Susan, the answer is the law of compensation. Compensation. You didn't get that.
Susan Welch, would you please share that with us?
Real quick, we lost a member of Zilis a couple days ago. She was a patient of mine, Jax Bubis, stage 4 ovarian cancer. Just say a prayer for her husband, Dan, and just know that Jax was a wonderful patriot, huge supporter of America and our country, and just say a prayer for Dan, her husband. She joined our Zilis family probably about a year ago. And so in memory of Jax, she was a wonderful person. So thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Susan. It is very, very heartbreaking. I know Judy Carver, who's one of our regional ambassadors, she's lost 6 people on her Kentucky based team just to COVID. And it's a hard thing to lose our team members. It just, it's like this is like family for us. And I know Jax was family for you, Susan. Angela has been family to all of us. And that those things are hard to recover from sometime. So that's just when we have to love on each other a little harder, and also on Dan, her widower now. So thank you so much, Susan, for remembering that. Any other thoughts, questions, comments while I end the recording here?